Hello fourth graders. Today we are going to be starting a new unit. We're going to be looking at Unit 3, Lesson 1. And this whole unit is going to be about division. Today specifically is going to be dividing with remainders. We're going to be using multiplication patterns to divide with zeros. So first, what is division? Well, really division is just the opposite of what multiplication is. It's called the inverse of multiplication. So we could use multiplication to help us solve division. And division, even more specifically, means to divide in equal groups. So what I have here is a problem, just a typical division problem. And what I want to draw attention to is key vocab. So first, let's start with this 12. This 12 is actually called our dividend. It's the number that we start with. What are we dividing? Next number I want to do is this 4. This 4 tells us how many groups are we dividing into, which is called our divisor. And then the last one that I want to draw attention to is this one right here. This is telling us how many are in each of those groups, and this is called the quotient, which is also the answer to our division problem. There's one more that I want to draw attention to, and right here on this problem, it's a 0, but later on in this unit, in this lesson really, we're going to be looking at how this is called the remainder. And the remainder tells us how many are left over after we divide into equal groups. Okay? Sometimes when we do a division problem, and like I'm going to write down here, we have a problem such as 3 divided by 14. Meaning, if we have 14 different things and I want to separate them into 3 equal groups, we want to know how many are going to be in each of those groups. So I'm going to count to myself. And the way I would do this is figure out how many times does 3 go into 14. And you could do it a simple thing like this. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. What I did is I counted by 3s until I got to 14 without going over. So I noticed that this one is 1 too many. So 3 goes into 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. Now what I would do is I would take 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And I would subtract. So then I would say 14 minus 12 is 2. So we would say 14 divided by 3 is 4, remainder 2. Let me show you that in a picture. So if we had 14 circles, and I wanted to divide them into 3 equal groups, what I would do is say, here's 1, 2, 3 groups. Each one of those groups has 4 circles in them with 2 left over. So again, this would show that we would be looking at 3 divided by 14. Shows that each group has 4, and then you have 2 left over, so remainder 2. Let's do another one for practice. If I was given 2 goes into 19, I would then again ask myself, how many times does 2 go into 19? So I would count by 2s all the way up until I get to 19 without going over. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 20 is too much, so I cannot count that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2 goes into 19 9 times. I do 9 times 2 is 18. 19 minus 18 is 1. Remainder 1. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one up on the screen right now. I want you to pause the video. I want you to try the next couple problems on your own and see how you did. As you can see, I could put 3 problems up here. I would like for you to try these on your own. So pause the video. When you come back, I'll have the answers and see how you guys did. Okay, here's your answers. Let's see how you did. First one was 7, remainder 1. Second one, 48 divided by 9 is 5, remainder 3. And then the third one, 48 divided by 5 is 9, remainder 3. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to check your division with multiplication, because I did tell you that division is really just the inverse or the opposite of multiplication. So what we would do is if we had a problem such as 27 divided by 6. Okay, we're trying to figure out how many times does 6 go into 27. So if I figure it out, 6 goes into 27 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. 27 minus 24 is 3. So I have a remainder of 3. Now to check this, what I would do, so I would say 4 times 6 equals 24. And then I have to add my remainder. 24 plus 3 is 27, which is exactly what we got. Alright guys, so just like how we can multiply and just add zeros, we could do the same thing with dividing with zeros. So I'm going to give you a couple sample problems of showing you what I'm talking about. So if I said, if I said 320 divided by 4, I could then think about this almost covering up that 0, saying how many times does 4 go into 32, which is just 8, because 4 times 8 is 32. But because of this 0 here, then I know I could just add a 0 at the end. So it's kind of like the same thing with the multiplication. We could just add our zeros in just the same way with division. So again, 4 goes into 32 8 times. But if 4 goes into 32 8 times, then 4 goes into 320 80 times. Let me show you another one. Let's see. If I had the problem of 5 goes into 4,500. So what I would want to see is first, how many times does 5 go into 45? So 5 goes into 45. Let's do 9 times. I do not have to go any further with my division because I know the 0 trick, meaning I see 1 0, 2 zeros. So that means my answer will have 2 zeros. So 5 goes into 4,500 900 times. Just a quick, simple trick that will do more of a shortcut for you, and hopefully that will help. Alright, so just a couple sample problems I want you to pause the video for. When you come back, I'll have the answers and see how you did. So right here, I have 6 goes into 42 7 times, but because of this 0 right here, I need to add 1 0. So 6 goes into 420 70 times. Next one, 1,800 divided by 3. I say 3 goes into 18. 6 times. I have 1, 2 zeros, so I add my 2 zeros. So 1,800 divided by 3 equals 600. Last one. Hopefully this didn't trick you. I actually did this one on purpose. Let's see. So 5 goes into 40. Don't get mixed up because I know there's 3 zeros down here, but you do not add 3 zeros. Let me show you why. 5 goes into 40 is 8 times. Well, that means there are 2 zeros that were not counted for. You will only add 2 zeros in your answer. I know some of you may have put 3 zeros, but notice you have to count that 1 zero within the 40. Okay? All right. Well, it should be it for today's lesson. Again, we were just dividing with remainders, and then also this dividing with zeros. Let me know if you have any questions tomorrow, and we'll go over them. Have a good night.